But I will say this. I have changed on this movie. I actually think Beyond Thunderdome is a good movie. This is one of those movies in a list I am going to do for a What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Mad Max Revisited review. Epictastic Joshua. I talk movies, TV, music, and anime. My name is Joshua Drake, and we are continuing with my least favorite one in the series, but I have a little updated thoughts. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This is the third film in the Mad Max series. This is directed by George Miller, and as of recently, this is one of the last few movies to star Mel Gibson. And this also stars not only just Mel Gibson, we also have the late Tina Turner. This is also co-directed by George Cleave. Max drifts into an evil town ruled by the aunts in this movie, played by Tina Turner, Auntie Entity. What happens is he becomes a gladiator there and gets dumped in the desert, where he is rescued by a band of feral orphans who have been looking for help for years. When several of them takes his appearance as a sign and goes off into the desert, he follows them back to town. There was a time when I first saw this, I hated this movie. I thought it was the worst Mad Max movie ever made, and that's coming from me that none of these movies I really hated, but this was the movie I put at the bottom of the barrel. I ranted pretty violently about. I'll say this, rewatching this, I still have my issues when it comes to this movie. I will say this, I have changed on this movie. I actually think Beyond Thunderdome is a good movie. This is one of those movies in a list I am going to do for a top 10 called Movies I Used to Hate But Now I Like. This one is one of them, because what the hell was wrong with me when I reviewed this back in the day in 2016? That review is no more. I took it down because this is actually pretty damn solid.
Jack, we scorched another one.
Now, it is nowhere near the level of Mad Max, Road Warrior, or even Fury Road, or even the first one. But I will say this is a pretty good entry into this franchise once again. I think some of the hate from this movie is a little unjustified. I think some of it comes from the fact that this is PG-13. This is not the most eventful in the series here, but it does have that chord of Temple of Doom. So the first thing I like in this is that this movie is the most goofiest one, but it is the most craziest one as well. So this one here, it brings the lore of the Mad Max universe with an interesting story here. And for some people, the balance between goofiness and dark doesn't really quite work here, and there's a big reason for that. But for me, I thought I like what they were trying to do. I give them credit for wanting to go a little different for this one. Now, obviously, it is nowhere near the first two, but I will say I quite liked what this one had to offer. I like what they were trying to do. I really enjoyed some of the things that they were going for, and I just quite enjoyed that. The fact that George Miller wanted to do something a little different, but I also really like the fact that his directing is still good in this movie. It's still competent. It's not like he's lost his way. Even though there's few movies from him I haven't seen, and maybe I will watch those aside from this and Happy Feet and the Babe movies. But this one, I just feel like his directing is still there. I really did enjoy the idea. They wanted to go a little different from Lost Boys and the story of Peter Pan, which I actually really liked. The action here is still really good, especially that third act. That third act car chase, for the budget they had, this was 1985, but the budget they had for this is epic. I like that part. That's probably my favorite part of this entire movie. I really do enjoy that. And George Miller does direct this movie very well. He still hasn't lost his way. He's made a few questionable movie decisions, which I still need to see. But I will say, I feel like in this movie, he does do a solid enough job. It's not the most amazing thing you ever see, but I don't think it's nowhere near a disaster that it is. I think it does try to be competent. It does try to be entertaining, and I enjoy it for that. I like the fact that it tried to be entertaining as possible, even though it wasn't what I expected at the time, and still follows it. There is some good cinematography here. I like the score here. I even like the song in this movie that they have, Beyond Thunderdome, the theme song by Tina Turner. May she rest in peace. And speaking of Tina Turner, she's fantastic in this movie. I don't know, the only other thing I saw her in before this was Tommy, which it was years ago. I saw it. That was one weird, crazy movie, I should say. But I will say Tina Turner, she does good as Auntie Ettity. She is ruthless. She's beautiful, of course, but she's also pretty badass here. So I will say she did do good here, and the fact that she did work on the script and the fact that she did try to do the best she can with what they got, I really enjoyed. I thought her performance was fantastic. Tina Turner was such a great talent in music, but also the small acting I've seen of her with this and Beyond Thunderdome. She's great in this. I will also say Bruce Spence, Frank Thorne, Angela Rosito, Angry Anderson, so many other actors, they all do a really good job in the movie as well. So I thought that overall the film was pretty good, and acting in the movie was good. I like the soundtrack, I like the score. It's competently well made, and it kept going. Now let's go into the issues, because I will say some of the issues in this movie goes way too far with the campiness. It goes way too far with the campy side of things. And for a lot of people, I can definitely see why this is the worst one. They take it so far that it gets a little bit annoying here and there. And it doesn't. And it also, there is a section of the movie where the kids stuff, while it was interesting, it did also kind of drag the movie down here. And you could tell there is a tone of directors. When George Miller directs, you get his side, but when you get George Ogilvy directing, you do get this side of the movie that a lot of people don't like. It looks like a Mad Max movie at times. It doesn't feel like it, which is something I do kind of give credit to, but I will say beyond that, I think that was a bit weird here. It was a weird decision in the story making, and the villain not being memorable was just a bit. I feel like they could have reworked the script or reworked it into directing and fixed that here. And I will also say my biggest issue, compared to the hard R antics of the previous two movies, is a big mistake here. And the lighter tone for a gritty post-apocalyptic world, I think is a bit too much here. I just think that was a bit crazy there. And I feel like this should have been rated R, not PG-13. So you definitely do miss your mark on that. And my final negative, yes, final negative, is I will say there are some moments where the pacing is a bit draggy for an hour and 47 minutes. It keeps going, but there's just moments where it drags itself out a little bit. But overall, I will say Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is very disappointing compared to the first two, or even what's next. But I will say, despite my issues still with some of the story decisions and directing choices, the PG-13 rating and such, I will say I still enjoyed this enough. I was very happy I gave this movie a second chance, because if I didn't do that, I would have probably hated this even more getting ready for Furiosa. I still think the action is good. I still think the directing is good. Tina Turner was cool. And overall, I just enjoyed what this had to offer. It's not perfect, but I do think this is one. I do think if you are someone who didn't like it the first time, try it out again and you might actually kind of enjoy this. But if you're not a fan of this one, just steer clear. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay epictastic, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.